my physique has actually transcended reality, so even if you can't see my divine gains, you can still feel its metaphysical presence. Greetings, dear friends, and welcome back to the Wednesday Q&A. Now, it's not actually Wednesday, but such petty details do not concern me in the least. We have two very profound and interesting questions of optimal wisdom, which I strive to answer in this episode. So let's get into it. How do you stay sane during all this degeneracy that is going on? Sometimes you can really get hit by this shit. I have my own ways, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. And one for training. Thoughts on creatine. Can begin with the training one. Yes, I'm all for creatine. That's one of the few supplements that has science behind it. So, creatine, yeah, cheap, effective, and actually something that, has some backing of sciences. So, yeah, if you're gonna buy protein, do it via my protein link below. I would highly appreciate it if you do that. Now, to the question, the real question there is a very, very good one, and this is something I try to promote as much as possible, and this is something I might make a separate video on later on. But to keep it brief enough, I suppose, it's to just, try to ignore as much of the degeneracy as possible. Like, it is, if you actively think on it too much, if you actively follow a lot of pages, for example, that only talk about degeneracy and how bad everything is, like, try to distance yourself a bit from that. I'm not saying that you should bury your head in the sand and pretend everything is good, but try to focus on things that makes you happy. So we can take European culture, for example. When I played The Witcher 3, I was so happy because everything there was just like the things I love with European culture, like the history, the aesthetics, the music, the heroism, everything like that. So I try to focus on that. So instead of focusing on that our European ancestral lands are getting overrun, like, yeah, we know that and we try to do everything we can against it. We don't need to think about it 24/7. So actively force your mind to think on other stuff. So think about how cool or how beautiful this church is, or whatever, or how beautiful this song is. So instead of listening to Miley Cyrus, take the active decision of not listen to that, but listen to some Waylander or whatever instead. I'll link my Spotify list below, so you get some cool folk metal there as well. So focus on the glorious gods and do not focus on fat acceptance, feminists, and do not only focus on what is bad, but also focus on what you love, what is good. So I'm quite happy all the time just because of that, because I've learned that if you only stare yourself blind, if you only go in this bubble, everything is going to hell. Like, you won't have that motivation to prosper. So if you think like about all the good stuff as well, then you will get that motivation. So, rambling over for that question, now the second question, which also is equally important, from Cassandra. Marcus, I notice in certain circles here there is a disconnect between being alpha and properly respecting true foundations of family life. Many people whom feel that they're alpha and act this way tend to show signs of degeneracy, such as disrespect for women and their role in a household environment, or the actual mate for life bond. My question, as you are a true alpha, thank you very much for that, how do you react and feel towards those in our circle who act that way? And then we have Tommy Devetria here comments, a man who does not spend time with his family can never be a real man. The Godfather. And yeah, that pretty much nails the question right there. You have this sort of generation which is so hard hit by feminism. So all of these guys, they are equally much feminists as these girls also. So basically my definition of feminist is who see the relationship between men and women as a conflict. So all these little betas, these little insignificant shits, they're also feminists when they have this anti-female rhetoric, because they've bought the whole feminist package supplied by the cultural Marxists, saying like, oh, you know, men and women fight now, break the band of the family. So those who harbor these sort of degenerate attitudes towards family life and towards the bond between man and woman, they are first of all stupid because they haven't realized that, you know, the foundation for any prosperous civilization is the family unit. And also, I would just like to say that those guys who cannot create a stable relationship, I mean, attracting a girl is easy. Making a relationship work is hard. So if I talk to a guy and he says like, I've been married to my wife for 6-7 years, I respect that guy. I respect that guy a lot. Or if he doesn't even have to be married, he say like, oh, you know, I've been with my girl for 7 years. That is incredibly much respect for me, because I know it takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work to make a relationship prosper. And also, one of the things that bothered me so much is that on one side you have these feminist women who thinks that, oh, a girl that does things for her man is so oppressed. And then you have these beta male feminists on the other side that say like, oh, you're pussy whipped the white knight if you do things for women. Okay, so I can take my own relationship. My woman must be the most oppressed and horribly treated woman out there, and I must be the most pussy whipped white knight out there because we do things for each other. But you know what? There is no losers in that situation. We benefit both from it. So if you haven't learned to use a woman, as it were, and if you're a woman, if you haven't learned to use a man, you are losing out on a lot of things. So view the relationship between man and woman as mutually beneficial, and if you don't have that, you're missing out, like, simple as that. So those little boys who go with rhetoric such as women belong in the kitchen, etc., those need to fuck off ASAP. I don't in any way want to be associated with those type of weak men, because a weak man cannot make a relationship work. A strong man, however, can make a family work. A strong man is a valuable member of the tribe, and not some little beta on the outskirts being mad at stuff. So yeah, a true alpha is a family man. That's the natural term of it. An alpha is not someone who goes around treating other people disrespectfully. That is what little betas do. So, answered 2 glorious questions in one video. Lastly, I would like to encourage you to check my description box. You can like my page on Facebook and Instagram, because I'm trying to make it there as well, and I update there quite frequently. And then you can also participate in these little Q&As. And who am I? I'm the glorious champion of Mother Europe, XOXO.